Enshal-gibum-chakana-show-dharipurna-chandram Shriman-narasimha-guruvariya-varadjavringam Shriman-nananta-guruvariya-sudang-gunabdhim Sampath-kumara-guruvariya-maham Prabhajye Vasudeva-sudandevam Kamsi-chanuramardhanam Devaki-paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. The sixth chapter deals with the scheme of practical yoga. Detached mind is the faithful friend of a yogi. The yogic methods of self-control are explained in this chapter. Establishing the mind on the soul and controlling the senses and their functions, the human being can raise him to a yogi. There are six things that are indicated for yoga practice. First five chapters are preparations for self-realization. The practice of self-realization is indicated in this chapter, for which there are six steps suggested. One, pick a clean spot, place neither very high nor very low, a seat comprised of darbha, that is kusha, grass, deer skin, and a silk cloth, one below another. How to concentrate in meditative state. Number two, seated there with concentrated mind has to control the functions of the mind and the senses. Purpose of sitting is to control the mind and senses. Number three, keep the trunk, head and neck straight, steady, and has to look the tip of the nose without distraction on any other direction. Number four, should sit with controlled mind focused on God. Number five, he who in addition has regulated his diet, sleep, and walking is said to be established in yoga. You should be normal in your diet, normal in your sleep, normal in your waking. Yuktahara viharasya, yuktachetasya karmasu, yuktaswapnavabodhasya, yogo bhavati dukkha. He is said to be established in yoga. Number six, he should, through gradual practice, attain Atma Sakshatkara or self realization. It cannot come in one day. There should be gradual practice at fixed hours, at fixed time, with peace of mind, and easily controllable seat. All these souls are akin to one another, Samadrishitva, in their knowledge and bliss. While liberated souls purged of sins compare with God Himself. Whoever knows thus can be categorized in the following groups. Three groups are there. Now, in 28 slokas, the yoga practice is indicated in six steps, as I just told you. This is one part or one subject of the chapter. Now, once you sit like this and realize yourself, how are you going to distinguish what is self-realization? Atma Sakshatkara. That is explained in four states. Now, yoga is difficult of achievement for one whose mind is not subdued, but who has the mind under control and is ceaselessly striving. It can be easily attained by diligent practice. So, diligent practice is the first requirement for yoga. Number two, he who fails to achieve perfection in yoga, there is no fall for him either here or thereafter. He will be born in a house of pious men, and through them he regains the understanding of his previous birth. With that, he will strive with greater vigor than before for perfection. Yoga Brashto Vidajake. Arjuna asks the question in the last 10 stanzas. Swamiji, Krishna Paramatma, if one distracts from yoga or fails in yoga in this birth, what will happen to him? He explains. Chitinam Srivatangehe Yoga Virayate. So one who has not completed his yoga in this birth, he will go to some other body, a better body, and he will realize. If not in this birth, at least in the next birth. Number three, the yogi is superior to ascetic. 36th shloka of this chapter. Yogino Vidhanvesham. There are three types of yogis up to this. Karma yogi, Jnana yogi, Sannyasa yogi. He also adds one more, tapasvi. So, Karma yogi is superior to tapasvi. Jnana yogi is superior to Karma yogi. And Sannyasa yogi is superior to Jnana yogi. And this self-realizing yogi is far, far better than the other yogis. This yogi is superior to ascetic, meaning tapasvi. But a bhakti yogi who devotedly worships the Lord with his mind focused on him, he gives one more sixth yogi who is called as Paramatma yogi, Sankhya yogi, Karma yogi, Jnana yogi, Sannyasa yogi, Adhyatma yogi. Ends with sixth chapter. But there is one more Paramatma yogi indicated in 47th last shloka of this chapter, who is far, far superior to this Karma yogi and Jnana yogi. So, this chapter deals with the modes of yoga. It is named Yoga Abhyasa Vidhi Yoga. How to practice self-realization. Karma Jnana Yoga, depicted so far and thought to be Vidhi Yoga, practiced with an eye of Jivatma Sakshatkara, is getting concluded with 46th stanza, considered to be the best yogi. But 47th sloka is an introduction to next six chapters of Paramatma Yogi, who is called as a Bhakta. So the entire Bhakti Yoga is indicated in the next Shatka, next six chapters. So, if you want to make a humble beginning to tread in this yogic ways, not by our own efforts, but by the grace of God. Your effort for self-realization leads to bhakti, which is a grace from God. Bhakti is for Paramatma Sakshatkara. It is called as Angi. And the first six chapter of self-realization is an Anga for it. Anga, this is Ramanuja's classification. Angi means bhakti. For what purpose? The realization of God. How to realize God? Mameveye prapadyante mama mayametam taranti te. 7th chapter we are going to see in next chapter. That is, those who surrender to me come to me for self God realization. So God realization is a superior objective, and self-realization is a prerequisite for God realization. Therefore, we are now completing the arena of self-realization with these six chapters. And then we are stepping to God realization in the next six chapters, which is subject matter of Bhakti Yoga. Satarmajnana Vairagya, Dhyana Bhakti Gochara, Narayana Param Brahma. Gita Shastre Samiritaha, first shloka in Gita Sangraha of Yamunacharya, which states that the entire subject matter of Bhagavad Gita is Bhakti Yoga, God realization. But for the preliminary self realization and further ramifications, next six chapters, that is 13 to 18. Therefore, everything is summarized in the last six chapters, including the first six chapters and the next six chapters. And the Gita Sara, the summary of all the yogas, is packed up in the 18th chapter. And Bhagavan declares that surrender to him is the best way, leaving all these 17 chapters. That is, Sarvadharman Parityajya. Forget about all items I have told in 17 chapters. Surrender unto me only. Then also you will be emancipated and you realize God. That is Prapatti Yoga as an independent path for God realization. Therefore, what we have to do is we have to learn steps to self realization as a requisite for God realization, which is subject matter of next six chapters. Now we will go inside each shloka for purposes of understanding the sixth chapter in detail. This is introduction to sixth chapter. Now coming to the sixth chapter, we once again it is repetition, but it is individualistic, meaning the shloka by shloka to understand four things. Fifth chapter is introduction to next 12th chapter, that is 47th shloka. The 46 shlokas of this chapter is divided into 28, 4, 4, and 10. Four topics. 20th chapter is what you call as Yoga Siddhi practice, Vidhi, meaning how to practice this yoga. Which yoga? Atma Sakshatkara Yoga. There is the theory. Theory is chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Having understood 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that is Vajra Vishada, Sankhya Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Sannyasa Yoga, you must be fit enough to commence your practice. This is included in 28. 28 is an split game. It is our split. Meaning these 28 slokas comprises of yoga practice for a common man. This is about internal engineering. Entire Gita is an internal engineering. It is not simply saying something and getting out. You must practice it, sitting in a place at fixed hours without much galata and be calm and considerate in every activity, ahara, vihara, cheshta, work, eating, sleeping, and rest. You should all control all these things if you want this yoga practice to be useful or fruitful. By doing yoga, you must be going to realize yourself. Next comes to God realization. So, self realization is a prerequisite for God realization, which is taught in next six chapters. He is called as Paramatma Yogi. A yogi is one who wants to join the Jivatma with Paramatma. Knowing Paramatma is self realization. Knowing your own self is self realization. Knowing Paramatma is God realization. God realization is in 7th to 12th chapters, which will tell about everything about God that you've been hearing also. Now, self-realization is complete with chapter 6, 44 or 45. The first sixth stanza tells us about the supremacy of the yogi, self-realization, meaning Pratyagatma Sakshatkara Yogi. Atma Sakshatkara Yogi is called as Pratyagatma Sakshatkara Yogi. That is individual self-realization. But there is one more yogi who is far, far superior to this yogi, which we are going to learn only in the next six chapters. He is called as Paramatma Yogi. And Gita Shastra is concluded in the next six chapters with the revision of Jnana, Vijnana, and Bhakti. Yourself, universal self, and Prakriti. That is what you call as Chit, Achit, and Ishvarata in 13th, 14th, and 15th chapters, and practical requirement of control of senses, number one, control of anger, number two, control of demonic and sattvic qualities, as a and believe in Shastras, Shraddha Traya. In everything, it is a triad of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Follow Sattva, leave the other two, improve yourself, you will be eligible for God realization. This is your Indian engineering, even that is used by modern gurus. So, who are you? I'm an individual comprising of three elements called as matter, soul, and God. Matter is your body, soul your individual self, that is Jivatma, and God is the Paramatma who is controlling both the self as well as the body. So it is a triad which has been telling, you must understand. Now, how to practice Atma Samyama? In Karma Yoga leads to Jnana Yoga. Both mix it together. That Karma Yoga is better than Jnana Yoga. All is with theory, but how to practice? Now, in this chapter, if you go through by subjects, as I told you, four subjects are there. Fifth subject is last shloka. The first subject is practice of self-realization. How is it possible? By following Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. Karma phalam, meaning he who expecting heaven as the fruits of his work, performs them thinking that works are a sole aim, as they mean worshipping the Supreme Lord, who is our friend in every respect, thinking that there is nothing to be got other than him. If he works, he is a sannyasin. If you are always, you need direction, you are thinking as to attain God, you are a sannyasin. It is not only devoted to Jnana Yoga, but also to Karma Yoga. Such a Karma Yogin, being intent on both, enables himself entertainment of yoga, but that is of the form of the vision of self. Not he who has renounced of sacred fires, works, and neither he who devotes himself to mere knowledge. And in contrast to them, a Karma Yogin has both knowledge and works. One. So, it is not renouncing your samsara that is sannyasin. A sannyasin is a karma yogi who rejects or who is not particular about the result. We call it as Thalatyaga, Mahatatyaga, and Kartrityaga. Such a sannyasi is called as Jnananishtha in Karma Yoga. The Lord expounds the knowledge element referred to above in Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is Sannyasa Yoga itself, which is Jnana Yoga. One does not become a true Karma Yogin if a identification with the body with the self is not renounced. Body is different, self is different. One who has not abandoned such a delusion of Prakriti being not distinct from the self cannot become a Karma Yogin. Now, an aspirant for whom Karma Yoga forms the means of liberation seeks the vision of self, the heights of yoga. For one who has attained such heights of yoga, there is tranquility, freedom from action, form the means. However, a man should continue to perform his duties, that is, actions, karma, until he attains moksha, which is also termed vision of the self. Now, this is in the third sloka. The fourth sloka, where a man ceases to have attachment for the things of the senses or the actions and has renounced all desires of the world, then he is said to have climbed to the heights of yoga. Abharabhu Jaya Jayu Samadarishi is called as yogi. Fifth shloka. One shouldn't lift the self by his own mind and not degrade oneself. The mind alone is one's friend and his enemy as well. Uddhareratmanatmanam. Atmanam avasadayeti. You have a controlled mind, mind is your friend. If mind controls you, you are a slave of mind. That is, your Atma will be your Ripu, your Shatru. Meaning, if you are a slave of senses, your Atma is your Shatru. If you have controlled your senses, Atma is your Mitra, friend. The mind is the friend of him by whom it has been conquered. But for one who has not conquered his mind, it remains hostile to him like a foe. That is sixth shloka. The seventh shloka states, from here commences the practice part of it. For one who has conquered the mind and who is serene, the great self is well secured in the minds of pairs of opposites, like cold and heat, pleasure and pain, honor and dishonor. All these things are seen with equality, samata bhava. He is a yogin. The yogin whose mind is stated with jnana of the self and also the mutual difference of the self from prakriti, who is established in self, whose senses are controlled, to whom earth, stone, gold look alike, is known as integrated. Samanoštashma kanchanaha. Gold and stone are considered equally by him. The thinking, he becomes integrated. Utasthaha, he is called as. He who looks upon well-wishers, neutrals, mediators, friends and foes, relatives and objects of hatred, and the virtuous and sinful, with the same eye, he excels. Meaning, you will see everyone, you will see everyone with the same angle. Samabuddhir Vishishyate. He is called as Samabuddhi. 10th shloka. Remaining in a scheduled place all by himself, the yogin should controlling his thought and mind, fix his mind on yoga, free from desires and void of the sense of possessions. Aparigraha. 11th shloka. Having established himself in a clean spot, firmly placed his seat neither too high nor too low, and covering it with cloth, deerskin, and kusha grass in the reverse order. 12th shloka. He was occupied that seat with mind concentrated and holding mind and senses in check. He should practice yoga for self purification. Atma Vishuddhaye. Now, the 13th sloka refers to holding the trunk, head, and neck straight and steady, remaining firm, and gazing at the tip of the nose without looking in other directions. The 14th sloka tells that firm in vow of celibacy, serene and fearless, with the mind held in restraint and fixing the thought on me, he should sit in yoga, absorbed in me, meditation. Thus, constantly applying his mind, the yogin of the disciplined mind attains the peace which is the ekam of eternal bliss and which abides in me. Arjuna, yoga is neither for him who overeats, nor for him who observes a complete fast, not for him who is given to too much sleep, not for him either who is ceaselessly awake. One should not be, one should be detailed circular. He should not go for extremes. He should not leave any activity, even sleeping. Everything should be controlled. Eating, sitting, rest, work, everything should be engaged. Yoga is neither for him who overeats nor for him who observes a complete fast. Yoga, which becomes a destroyer of sorrows, is accomplished only by him who is temperate in food and recreation, who is regulated in actions, and who is regulated in sleep and wakefulness. Ittahara viharasya, ittitestasya kanasu, ittaswapnavarasya, yogo bhavati dukkhaha, dukkham hanti iti dukkhaha. It kills all his dukkha, sorrow. When the mind thoroughly subdued gets riveted on self alone, then free of all yearning or all enjoyments, one is said to be fit for yoga. So, a Samadarishi is fit for yoga. The 19th shloka tells us the simile just as a lamp does not flicker in a windless place, is used for the disciplined mind of a yogin who practices yoga. The state in which the mind, curved by the practice of yoga, becomes still and where the self is seen by the self, one is delighted by the self only. Atmananda brings it pleasure. Where one experiences boundless happiness, which can be apprehended only by the intellect, but is beyond the gross presences, wherein the established one moves not from that condition. 21st shloka. Now, 22nd tells, having obtained which one does not reckon there is any greater gain beyond it, and established in which one is not moved by the heaviest sorrow. Sukritya same krutva. Know this deliverance from association with misery to the yoga. This yoga should be resolutely practiced with a mind free from and unwearied mind. Meaning, there should be shanti in your place of worship or dhyana. Complete renouncing all desires, completely renouncing all desires, born of mental speculation and restraining all the senses on all sides by the mind. So, mind, body, and soul should be erected and controlled. He should gradually, step by step, withdraw from the objects other than the self with the help of the intellect controlled by him, controlled by firm resolution. He should not then think of anything else, having fixed the mind upon self. 25th shloka. From whatever the restless and fidgety mind wanders, he should withdraw it then and there and bring it under the control of all the self, control of the self alone. 26th shloka. For to the yogin whose mind is perfectly serene, who is free from evil, in whom the rajas has been subdued, and who has become Brahman, supreme happiness comes as a matter of course. It comes of its own. You need not strive for it. 27. Last sloka, 28. The yogin free from impurities, since devoting himself to the yoga of the self attains easily the supreme bliss of contact with the Brahman. So, unification with Brahman is explained in these 28 slokas in your concentration meditation camp. The yogin whose mind is fixed in yoga sees unity. Now, presume that you have realized. How will that yogi be? What are his characteristics? The answer is he holds, he beholds the self as abiding in all beings and also all beings in his self. All Atmas are having the same qualities in the unbodied state. When it is in the body, you find some difference, that's all. First yogi, meaning Sarvatra Sarvadarshana, Sarvatra Samadarshanaha. He sees everyone as self. Number two, he who sees me in every self and sees every self in me never loses sight of me, and I never lose sight of him. So everything belongs to Bhagavan. So he is in me and I am in him. Paramatma tells, Krishna Paramatma. Third category. The yogin who established in oneness worships me as abiding in all beings. He abides in me no matter how he lives. So so all jivatmas are one. First thinking. All jivatmas do dwell in Emberman, that is Bhagavan. Number two. Number three, he must see everyone in me and me in everyone. Third category. The fourth one is he establishes in oneness, worships me as abiding in all beings. He abides in me no matter how he lives. Meaning, he is also equal to Paramatma except certain things. Because he abides in me and I abide in him. Meaning, Jnanatva, Anandatva, Amalatva are common to both Paramatma and Jiva. There is a fourth type, Jnani, fourth stage Jnani. There is Atmanishtha. Now, he is perplexed, our Arjuna. We are also. Madhusudana, this yoga of equality which you have just spoken, Samadrishitva, I do not perceive that it can be steadily due to the restlessness of mind. Swamiji, I can't understand this. Maybe it is restless of my mind. He puts questions in three shlokas. The first shloka. Second, for Krishna, the mind is very unsteady, turbulent, obstinate, and powerful. Therefore, I consider it as difficult to restrain as the wind. Chintalam Krishna, Pramad Sarvadharam, Abhyaserta Kaunteya, Vairagya Bhagavan tells the mind is restless and difficult to curb, no doubt. O mighty armed son of Kunti. But by practice and by exercise of dispassion, it can be brought under control. Vairagyam is called as dispassion. It is, in my view, 36th shloka, that yoga is difficult for achievement by a person of unrestrained mind. However, it can be attained through proper means by him who ceaselessly strives for it and has the mind under control. So you must practice, ceaselessly strive, and control your mind. So, control your mind, you say, how is it possible? Is it that question? Krishna, what becomes of him who has faith but put in not enough effort and finds his mind diverted from yoga and falls to attain perfection? Which way does he go? His question is different. All he asks is, a man concentrates, there is a impediment in the middle. Such a people who have not completed their yoga, how do they enjoy the result? What will be the result for them? Oh, mighty armed Krishna, does not such a man without any support, confused in the path leading to Brahman, and deprived of both, perish like a torrent cloud? So if a man discontinues yoga or is disturbed while carrying yoga, what will happen to him? Question. Krishna, it behoves of you to dispel altogether this doubt of mine, for none other than you can destroy this doubt. त्वदन्यः संशयस्यास्य चेत्वा न ह्युपपद्यते. You alone can answer this question. I can't find any other party to answer this question. Krishna Paramatma says in his 40th shloka, there is no fall for him. Meaning Yoga Bhraktasya, there is no fall, neither here nor hereafter. And the next verse, who strives for self-realization. For no one who does good ever meets with evil destiny. Yahi kalyana kachiti durgati nata gachati. He who has fallen from yoga attains the higher worlds of doers of good deeds, and dwelling there many years is born again in the house of pious and wealthy men. Future birth is told. He takes his birth in a family enlightened yogins, but such a birth in the world is rare to get. On taking such a birth, what is third, he gets back the disposition of mind of his previous birth, and from there on he strives for complete success in yoga. He continues his left off yoga from previous birth in this birth. By virtue of his earlier practice, he is drawn forward even against his will, even though he is in inquisitive inquiry about yoga. He transcends the Shabda Brahman, that is Prakriti or matter. He can easily go to the higher steps in continuation of the left off step. Now, what last question, last step. But the yogin who strives diligently, being thoroughly cleansed of all his stains, and perfectly through many births, reaches forth with the supreme state. So, प्रयत्नाद्यतमानस्तु योगी संशुद्धकल्बिषः अनेकजन्मसंसिद्धः तथो याति परां गतिम्. So, just changing the cloth, Atma moves from one body to another body, but a better body, and ultimately claims emancipation. Next two slokas are explained as the telling. The supremacy of this Atma Yoga and the most desirable Paramatma Yogi's characteristics will be narrated in the next six chapters. So saying, Krishna Paramatma concludes the sixth chapter. Tasmin Gradhamarambham, Edushe Gravadhamam, Lakshmi Vallabhaparyantam, Vande Guru Paramparam.